What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another live stream here. I am Ethan, the host of Ethan Sports Talk channel. Now, I actually should have changed this part to. Let me quickly change this to Sports Talk because we have officially changed it to Sports Talk now. And for example, today we are going to be talking about the NFL today. It's going to be starting, the regular season will be starting in 2 weeks' time. I cannot believe how time flies by. And, it's going to be a great season. A lot to look forward to with my Philadelphia Eagles. Hopefully, our guys can stay healthy. So that's what we're looking for. We're going to each record prediction of every single NFL team. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss out on any of these exciting live streams. And if you're new to this channel, make sure you subscribe and like this live stream if you enjoy. So, yeah, we're going to be getting it. So we have 3 people in right now. What we're going to be doing. So we're going to start with the NFC East today. We will start with that. Non-biased. I'm an Eagles fan, and I am going to be non-biased. I'm not going to say they're going 17-0 or something like that. We are going to give you my honest record predictions for every. I'm not going to say Eagles are going 17-0. I'm not going to say that them Cowgirls are going 0-17, okay? So we're going to be doing honest predictions. So, yeah, the Eagles last season obviously getting knocked out in the first round was to the 49ers sucked, but it was kind of expected if you think about it. I mean, we weren't in good shape last season, especially with Kevin Patullo as our offensive coordinator. He was horrible for us. Hopefully Lane Johnson could stay healthy for the Eagles this season. That was, I think, a big, important, big reason why we didn't do well last season is because on the offensive side of the football, because we didn't have Lane Johnson playing for half of the season. So yeah, hopefully we have like a nice bounce back. I think we made some changes on the defensive side this season, especially losing Reed Blankenship, which was obviously sucks, but stuff happens. So we have 5 people in right now. We are going to get started. I'm gonna check my how this live stream is doing because I'm actually going to share my screen with you guys. I haven't done that on a live stream yet, but I want to make sure it works okay. All right, here. Okay, I think it's looking pretty good. Let me see if you guys still hear me. I think you guys can still hear me. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like you guys can hear me. Okay, so that's a good sign. Let me know if there's anything wrong with the stream. But we will be getting into the Philadelphia Eagles to start the record predictions. NFC East. Let's get started with the Philadelphia Eagles. So their record last season obviously was 11-6. They got knocked out in the first round, and I'm hoping for a bounce back this season. So let's get started with week 1. I believe that will be a win for my Philadelphia Eagles at home against a division rival in the Washington Commanders. I think there should be no problem there. And the Titans should be another easy win. And away from home, I think this will be a very tough one. So give me a loss there for my Eagles. But then we bounce back, a win against the Rams, then a win in London against the Jaguars. So we're 4-1 now, and then we get another win at home against the Panthers. Then we beat the Dallas Cowboys, our biggest rivals at home, 6-1 record. Then I think we sweep the Washington Commanders. I think we win another one away. I can see us losing that one, but I think we will sweep the Commanders this season. Then we get a win against the Giants. So we're looking good, 8-1. Sorry. Okay. And then we go into the bye week now, look at 8-1. So now we look to come out with some confidence, and we will beat the Steelers at home. But on Thanksgiving, I said I would be non-biased, and I will have to admit, I think Dallas will get the better of us on Thanksgiving. In Dallas, it's a very hard game. So I think we lose there, but then we come back with 2 wins here. Then we lose to the reigning Super Bowl champions, the Seahawks. Then I believe we can beat the Texans here at home. Then we will lose to San Francisco away. And then on the final game of the season, I think we will lose to the New York Giants. There is my predictions for my Philadelphia Eagles, 12-5. Let me know what you guys think of that first prediction. I told you I'd be non-biased with it. I think we can sweep the Commanders. I think the final game will be a game where we just have all the bench playing. That's why I said the Giants will win, especially because they're at home. And who knows, the Giants might fight for a playoff spot on the final day. That's why I think they will beat us there. Dallas, I mean, they always play on Thanksgiving, and they're used to playing on Thanksgiving, and they're playing at home. So I think they can definitely beat the Eagles there. But 12-5 is my record predictions. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think I got the predictions wrong there? And next, we will move on to the Dallas Cowboys. So let's get started. So the Cowboys went 7-9-1 last season. They got a rare draw in one of their games. They missed the playoffs, obviously. So that has been pretty common for the Cowboys. So let us get into Dallas's record predictions. Where are they? Here they are. Let's get into Dallas's record prediction. So week 1 away from home, I think the Cowboys will get a win here. And then I think they will get a win here too. So they start off 2-0. Then this is where it starts to go downhill from here. They will lose to the Ravens. They'll lose to the Texans. They will lose to the Bucs. So they're 2-3. They need to bounce back. Will they beat the Packers? No. They will lose. Then they will lose to my Philadelphia Eagles. We've already said that they would lose here. But then they get a nice win at home against the Cardinals, so making them 3-5. Then they will lose to the Colts, I think, here away. And then they will lose to the 49ers. So they're 3-7. They need to bounce back. But they will win here against the Titans. And then they will beat my Philadelphia Eagles on Thanksgiving. They will lose to the reigning Super Bowl champions. And then the LA Rams after the bye week. They have a late bye week this year. Then they will lose to the Jacks. And they will beat the Giants. So I actually can see the Cowboys sweeping the Giants, and they will lose on the final week to Washington, making their record 6-11. That is what I have for Dallas. I do not think Dallas push for a playoff spot this season. Things are not going to look good for them. But and I'm so sorry, everybody. I forgot to share my screen at that time. So there is the Dallas Cowboys record prediction. Let me know what you guys think of these record predictions. As always, 6-11 is where I have the Dallas Cowboys finishing this season. So, so now we will go on to the next one. where I think where it will be the Washington Commanders, who finished 5-12 this season, had their share of injured players this season. So we will get into that now. So, yeah, 6-11 finish for the Dallas. It's a rough one, especially because they have some tough games in the mix. So let's go on to Washington's record predictions. Week 1 against the Eagles will be a loss there, and I think they will lose to Dallas as well. So this is a horrible start for Washington. They need to bounce back. And unfortunately for them, they play the defending champions, which I think they'll lose here. They're 0-3, but they will bounce back here. Bounce back, a couple of wins. That will get them going. They will lose, though, to the 49ers. Heading into the bye week, they're 2-4, and they will lose here to the Eagles. They will lose to the Rams. They'll lose away to the Giants. So 2-7 now. At home, Washington will get the win here. Washington will go on a nice 3-game winning streak. They will lose to the Texans. I believe they will bounce back with a win against the Falcons and a win against the Vikings. But then I think they will lose to the Jaguars, and they will beat the Cowboys on the final week, making my record prediction for the Washington Commanders 8-9. So, yeah, there's my predictions for the Commanders. I can see them finishing second in the NFC East. We'll see with the Giants what I think that they'll do with the Giants, but it's still the Commanders still have some work to do to bounce back, to get back to that spot that they once were. In my opinion, like I said, the Cowboys are in a horrible position in my opinion. I don't think they do anything much. They have a pretty talented squad. They just don't have like the defense. I don't think that they used to. Let me know if you think I'm wrong. I mean, yeah, I'm trying to give you my honest NFL predictions. I definitely have more of a NBA, like I know now knowledge on the NBA and stuff like that. But I will still give you my record predictions for the NFL, and let me know honestly if you think I went wrong with these predictions. So 8-9 is where I have the Washington Commanders going. I do not think that the Commanders will probably miss the playoffs this season. So 8-9. And now we move on to the New York Giants. So the New York Giants finished 4-13 last season, missing out on the playoffs. Giants are going to have a season of not necessarily making the playoffs, but having a season of hope. They haven't had the good past few seasons, but I think they can have some hope going into this season. Starting off with week 1, they will lose to the Dallas Cowboys here. There's no question about it. I think Dallas will probably destroy them in this game. I don't see the Giants competing for that, and they will lose here. At home against the Titans, they will beat the Titans, I believe. They will also beat the Cardinals. So 2-2, that gets their confidence up, but they will lose to the Washington Commanders here. I think they will beat the Saints here. I don't think the Saints will be that good. We'll get to that later. The Texans, they'll lose to. Then they will lose to the Eagles. Then they will – oh, wait. I think I messed up here. They'll win. They will beat the Commanders. They'll split the series. That's why I had them going for the Commanders prediction, so we'll do that. 4-5. Yeah, that's another thing. Let me know if I messed up with, like, accidentally predicting the wrong thing. So yeah, 2-4. Or no, excuse me. We had them going 3-4 by the bye week, and then having loss and the win. So 4-5. Then they need to bounce back, but they will lose at home to the Jags. I do think they get an away win against the Colts. I do. I think they will win 5-6 now for the Giants. But then this is when it starts falling apart to big losses. And now they're like pretty much in need to win every single game that they have left, which I will think they'll win this game against the Browns. But they will lose to the Lions, lose to the Cowboys. But I think they will beat the Eagles to end the season, making my record prediction for the Giants 7-10 this season. So that is it for the NFC East. Let me know what you guys think. Did I mess up there? I think I did pretty well in the predictions, but obviously I need you guys' feedback on these predictions. So there is my prediction for the Giants. I think they'll go 7-10. So that's how it is. The Eagles will be number one in the NFC East, 12-5. I have the Commanders being 8-9, second. Giants 7-10, and Dallas 6-11. That's where I have it. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about it. Like I always say, I always tell you guys to give me as much feedback as possible because I would really like to hear it. So let's move on. We will move on to the NFC North. That is the big one. NFC North. We'll start with the Chicago Bears. We'll start with the Chicago Bears. So there's the Giants predictions one more time. And yeah, let's move on. Chicago Bears. So last year they finished number one in the NFC North, finishing 11-6. How would they do this season? Well, you will find out. Let's start with the week one. They will beat the Panthers at home. This is where it's important. They have 3 home games in a row. And you know what? I think they'll win all 3. 4-0. But then away, they will lose to the Packers. But they will come back with a nice win against the Falcons before losing 2 in a row here. I think they'll come back with a win, and they'll head into the bye week with a 6-3 record. Then after the bye week, week 11, they will beat the Saints here. They will beat the Lions. They will beat the Jaguars. They will beat the Dolphins. So that's a great – they are on a heater after the bye week. And I think they will beat the Bills away too. I think the Bears can have just another good season. They will beat the Packers here. But at home, I think they will lose to the Lions. I think the Lions could sneak a playoff spot, and that's where I think they'll fight for towards the end of the season. But they will win away against the Vikings, making my predictions for the Bears 13-4. I know that sounds a little too far, but the Bears are a really good side, and I am expecting another good season for them. That will be their big step up from last season. Last season, they weren't exactly this big Super Bowl contending team, but now I think they will really make some noise this season and challenge for the number 1 seed in the NFC. That is what they will be going for this season, and that's why I think they will be 13-4. So that will be my predictions for them. Then my next predictions: the Green Bay Packers 7-1 last season. They did make the playoffs. However, they lost to the Bears in the playoffs. Would you look at that? But I think they can have another good season. They could have another good season. Sorry, we're still in Chicago. 13-4, great season. But now we move on to Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers, most years they're a good side. There's some, there could be some questions about the Packers. I get that. They have a pretty decent side, but not a Super Bowl contending side. I don't think. Jordan Love is still a good quarterback for Green Bay, and we'll find out how he does this season for the Packers, and we hope that he stays healthy. But let's start out with this one. So, week 1, I think against the Vikings, I think they will beat the Minnesota Vikings to start off 1-0. They will beat the Jets, beat the Falcons. So they start off 3-0. It's a good start for them. And I think they will beat the Bucs as well. So 4-0 start. And I actually think they just keep on going, 6-0. But then their losses could pile up. Lions, I think they will lose here. They will lose to the Panthers as well, 6-2, and they will lose to the Patriots. So 3 losses in a row after going 6-0. That's has got to sting. They will sweep the Vikings there. They will lose to the Rams, 7-4. Then they will beat the New Orleans Saints, and then I think they will beat the Buffalo Bills there. Beat the Dolphins. I think in this one they will lose to the Bears. They will beat the Texans in week 17, and I think they will beat the Lions on the final day, making my record prediction for the Green Bay Packers 12-5. Let me know what you guys think. That is a very big hot take, I think, to say the Green Bay Packers will be that good. I think they will, and we'll see. I don't like the Packers. You guys know why. I think they're cowards for wanting the tush push to be banned. But yeah, that's where they are, and we'll see if I'm right. So moving on. We will move on to the Detroit Lions record predictions. So Detroit. So let's see what they did last season. They went their record last season was at the bottom. They were 9-8 last season, but they somehow missed the playoffs. They were bottom of their division. That's how good this division was last season. So for the Detroit Lions, I think they can have a nice bounce back year and maybe get at least 10 wins. Let's start with against the Saints. They will win it there. They will actually no. They will lose to the Bills 1-1. I think they will beat the Jets there. They will lose to the Panthers, and they will beat the Cardinals. So they'll be 3-2 going into the bye. They will lose. They'll beat the Packers. They will beat the Vikings. They will beat the Dolphins as well, 6-2, and they will lose to the Patriots. So, yes, they have an early bye week this year, as I'm sure you know. Then they will beat the Bucs. I think they will beat the Bucs. Then they will. This is where it gets tricky for them. I think they will lose here to the Bears. I think they will beat the Falcons. They will beat the Titans. So they got hard, but they bounced back with 2 wins, and I think they can do that again. I think they will sweep the Vikings 10-4. I think they will beat the Giants. I think they'll lose to the Bears here, but ultimately, I think they will. Actually, no. I think the Lions win, and then they will lose here to the Packers, making my record prediction for them 12-5. So that is a good sign for them to bounce back this season with a high-powered offense. So Minnesota, this is a team to talk about. Their quarterback situation is an absolute mess. Absolute mess. They have JJ McCarthy will be injured. For them, they'll have to lean between Kyler Murray or Carson Wentz as the quarterback, and that's just not good enough there. Let's get into these predictions. 2 losses to start off the season, and that is just leaves you wondering, oh boy, this is a horrible start. Then they lose to the Bucs here. They will bounce back. Couple of wins going into the bye week, 2-3, and then I think they will beat the Colts there. So that's a good sign. Then lost to Lions. Then I believe they'll lose to the Bills. They'll lose to the Packers. So they're gonna get swept by all their division rivals. I think they'll lose to the Niners here. They'll beat the Panthers or the Falcons, but they will lose to the Panthers, and then they will lose to the Patriots here. They will lose to the Lions there. And then they will lose to the Commanders. Then they will beat the Jets, and then they will lose to the Bears. So my record predictions for the Vikings is 5-12, and just a very big disappointment for the Vikings. They used to be a good side. They had talent on their squad, but they're not good enough at all, especially with 2 games a year against in a really good division. And then they have a pretty hard schedule. They have games against the Bills this season, games against the Patriots. So that you have to take into consideration. And, can the Vikings really do stuff, especially with their quarterback situation? That's a big deal. I will be right back, and then we'll get into the next division. Sorry about that, everybody. We are finally back and ready to do the next division. We will go into the NFC South, where last year the Panthers were 8-9, the Bucs were 8-9. Panthers did win the division. However, the Falcons were also 8-9, and the Saints were 6-11. So let's see how this division goes. I don't think the Saints' future is looking too bright. They had a good start to last season, I remember, if I'm remembering that correctly. And then they just started falling apart, but they got some wins towards the end of last season. And then the Falcons, just mid, and like any Atlanta team. The Bucs, 8-9. They competed with the Panthers on the final day, which fortunately for the Panthers, they ended up winning and making a playoff appearance, which no one expected. So we will get into that, starting with the Panthers. Let's see. Let's get out of here. And sorry if I said that the Eagles. In the Eagles record prediction, for example, I said they would beat the Giants, and then in the Giants record prediction, I said the Giants would beat the Eagles. I'm sorry if I actually accidentally do that a few times. There they are. So let's get into the Carolina Panthers record prediction. Starting week 1 against the Chicago Bears, this will be a loss for the Panthers as they start off 0-1. Then against the Falcons, that's a win for the Panthers. Then they will beat the Browns. We will talk about the Browns. The Browns are the Cleveland Browns. Then they will lose to the Lions, I think. Or actually, no, I think that I had the Lions losing to the Panthers here. So, yeah, we'll go with the Panthers instead. So they're 3-1. Then I think they'll lose to the Eagles coming out of an early bye week. Then against the Bucs, I think they will. History will repeat itself, and I think they will beat the Bucs. Then against the Packers away, I think that will be a win. I think that will be a very nice win for them. But then against the Broncos, they will take a loss there. I think against the Saints, they will lose here against the Saints. They will lose against the Baltimore Ravens, so 5-5, and they will lose to the Bucs. So they have a 4-game losing streak. They need to bounce back, which I think they will do. I think they will get these couple of wins, get 3 wins in a row. Let's give them 3 wins in a row. Then they will take a loss here to the Steelers, a loss to the defending Super Bowl champions, and they will, on the final week, beat the Falcons, and making my record prediction for the Carolina Panthers 9-8. That is where I think they will go. So another good season. Not going to have a big step up. I think it'll be pretty similar to last season for them, but at least we're going to come to expect it more this time. So 9-8. That is where my predictions are with the Panthers. So let's get into the next prediction. So let's get into the Tampa Bay Buccaneers predictions. So week 1, they face the Cincinnati Bengals away. They will win that there. They will beat the Browns. So that's a good start for them. They will beat the Vikings. So 3-0 start, just like very similar situation to last season. They will lose to the Packers there. They will beat the Dallas Cowboys. They will beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then they will lose to the Panthers. Then they will beat the Falcons. They will lose to the Chicago Bears, 6-3, heading into the bye week. Then week 11, they come back, and I think they will lose here to the Lions. So 6-4. I think they will beat the Carolina Panthers. I think they will beat the Los Angeles Chargers. They will lose to the Baltimore Ravens here. They will beat the Saints, lose to the Falcons, lose to the Rams, but end the season with a win against the Saints, making my record prediction for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 10-7 on the season. I think that will be a good record for them. So let me know what you guys think of that. Then we move up to the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons looking to have a good season. They start off with the Steelers, which I think they'll lose to the Steelers. I think they'll lose to the Panthers. They will lose to the Packers. So bad start, 0-3. They will beat the Saints, but lose to the Ravens. So 1-4. And the losses just keep piling on. 1-6. 1-7. They just keep on piling on for the Falcons. They will get a win, but then they lost to the Chiefs. Falcons, I think they will beat the Vikings there. I think I had them beating when the Vikings losing. So then I think they will lose to the Lions, and I think they will beat the Browns here. I think they will lose to the Commanders. So that's just a bad season. But I think they will get 2 nice wins there, and they will lose to the Panthers on the final week, making my record predictions for the Atlanta Falcons 6-11. Not a good season at all. But like I said, it's the Atlanta Falcons, and it's just they're not that good. They're a mid team and they're competing in a very good division. But not a very good division, but a team two teams that are on the rise, like the Bucks and the Panthers. So next up, for the final one, we will do the New Orleans Saints to finish out this record prediction. Let's get started. So they will start off a couple losses there. Then I think they will beat the Las Vegas Raiders 1-2. Then I think they will lose here to the Falcons. Let's see if it saves my predictions about them. No, it does not. Wish it did. So let's start my record predictions for the New Orleans Saints. I think they will start with 2 losses. Then they will get the win here. Then they will get the win here against the Falcons. I think they will. Then so they start off with a 2-2. Then they will lose to the Vikings. They will lose to the Giants. So 2-4. Lose to the Steelers. So 2-5 heading into the bye week. They will get a win here. They will get a win here against the Panthers. So 4-5. But then they will lose here. They will lose here. So some bad losses. Yeah, so it just keeps. They have a pretty decent start, but then they start slipping. I think they will lose here. They will get a win there, but they lose to the Falcons. And on the final week, I think they'll lose to the Bucks. I'm making my record prediction for the Saints 5-12 on the season. Let me know what you guys think of that. I think another good prediction. I think the Saints will be even lucky to get 5 wins. I don't think they have a proper quarterback on their team. And they definitely need to work on the defensive side, I think, as well. So, yeah, no disrespect to the Saints. It's just what I truly believe will happen for them and what a lot of other people think will happen probably. But next up, we will go on to the NFC West, the land of champions, the land of the Super Bowl champions, the Seattle Seahawks. We'll start off with them in the division. 14-3 was the record last season, and they ended up winning the Super Bowl, deservedly so. So let's get into it. Let's start off with the Super Bowl rematch against the Patriots. They will win it here. They will then take on the Cardinals, where they absolutely demolish them. That they beat the Commanders, so they're 3-0, and they'll beat the Chargers. They will beat the 49ers 5-0. Then I think they will lose to the Denver Broncos. They will beat the Chiefs. They will beat the Chicago Bears. So they're 7-1. Now they will sweep the Cardinals this season, 8-1. They will beat the Raiders, so 9-1 going into the bye week. I think they will split with the 49ers. They'll lose here. They will beat the Seahawks, the Giants, and my Eagles. Then I think they will get a loss here to the Rams. They will beat the Panthers, and then on the final week they will beat the Rams, making my record prediction once again for the Seattle Seahawks 14-3. They repeat that same record last season, and as of right now they're on track to become the NFC number 1 seed. So let's go on to the LA Rams now. The Rams have had the big trade this season. They traded for the best player in the NFL last season, Myles Garrett, who was an absolute beast for the Cleveland Browns. It was such a good pickup for Los Angeles. Great job by them. And they can have a really good season. They could be Super Bowl champions this year. So we'll see what happens. Starting off with the win there against the 49ers. They will win here. They'll win to the win against the Broncos, I believe. I think they will lose to the Eagles. I think my Philadelphia Eagles always get the better of them at the Link. They will beat the Bills. They will beat the Cardinals. They will beat the Raiders. They will beat the Chargers. They will beat the Commanders. They will scroll down. Okay, they will beat the Cardinals. And they'll head into the bye week feeling really good about themselves, 9-1. Then they will beat the Packers. I really feel they can do that. They will beat the Chiefs. 11-1 is the record now. This is unbelievable. They will beat the 49ers. They will beat the Cowboys. So 13-1 is their prediction now. 14-1. Are you kidding me? They will beat the Bucks. They will lose to the Seahawks. So making my record prediction for the Rams 15-2. I think they will be almost unstoppable this season. I wanted them to start losing games because I feel like it sounds unrealistic. But with this schedule that they have, and I really think the Rams could be a really amazing team this season, and that's why I think they'll be 15-2 on the year, and I think they'll just have an even better defense than last year. So next up, we will move on to the San Francisco 49ers because they cannot get past the 50-yard line, as we like to say in Philly. 49ers and the Rams, they will lose to start off the season. They will bounce back against the Dolphins, bounce back against the Cardinals. They will lose to the Broncos. They are 2-2. Then they will lose to the Seahawks there. Do I actually think the Seahawks will win? No, I think actually maybe yeah. They I'm so sorry. I gotta think about this. This is a hard prediction all of a sudden. Yeah, I actually think they will win. They will win, beat the Commanders 4-2. They will beat the Falcons away. They will beat the Raiders. They will beat the Cowboys 7-2. They will beat the Vikings. Then they will lose here to the Seahawks. They will beat the Giants. They will lose to the Rams. They will beat the Chargers away. They will beat the Chiefs. They will beat the Eagles. And then on the final week, they will beat the Cardinals, making my record prediction for the San Francisco 49ers 13-4. Imagine having a division with a 15-2 team, a 14-3 team, and a 13-4 team. That is just not something you see every day. But let's get on to the next predictions. We'll go to the Arizona Cardinals record predictions, which I think we know where this is heading. Cardinals start off with a loss. They 0-3. They just keep on losing. So, sorry. 0-6, 0-7. Just keeps on coming. 0-8, 0-9. Come on, Arizona, 0-10. Then they will lose here. They will lose to the Commanders, 0-12. They will lose to the Eagles. But they will finally get a win against the Jets, and they will lose to the Saints, and I think they will get the win against the Raiders, and they will lose on the final week to the 49ers, making my record predictions for the Arizona Cardinals 2-15. I'm sorry, Arizona fans. I did not mean to give you guys such a low record, but this sounds realistic to me. 2-15. About maybe you'll get 4 wins at best, like a win against the Commanders or even the Chargers on week 1. We'll have to see. But let's move on to the AFC now. Let's start off with the AFC East. Let's start off with New England Patriots, the defending AFC champions, who just added former Philadelphia Eagle A.J. Brown onto their team. That gives another weapon for Drake May on the team. So let's see, 8 people in the chat right now. So we will be ending in like 10 minutes. We will do the predictions. So, yeah, let's go into the AFC, the New England Patriots. So let's start with them. They will lose to the Seahawks. Then they will beat the Steelers. They will beat the Jacks. They will beat the Bills. They will beat the Raiders. So they just keep on piling up wins. And I think they will also beat the Bears here. They will beat the Dolphins. They will lose here to the Packers, and I think they will go 8-2 heading into the bye. They will beat the Chargers. They will lose to the Bills here. They will beat the Vikings. They will beat the Chiefs. They will sweep the Jets on the season. They will lose to the Broncos, and they will beat the Dolphins on the final week, making my record predictions for them 13-4 with the new addition of A.J. Brown on their team. Let me know what you guys think of that prediction. So let's head into the Buffalo Bills record predictions. I think the Buffalo Bills will have to really sneak in a playoff spot, perhaps. They will start off losing to the Houston Texans. That is a big one. They will bounce back. They will, after a loss to the Lions, but they will bounce back here, but win. But then they start off 1-3. And then they start off 1-4. So the Bills have some work to do. They will win here. They will get some wins. They will be 5-4. So they should be fine. They get a 3-game winning streak after the bye week. Then they will beat the Dolphins. They will beat the Chiefs. Then they will beat the Packers, the Patriots. So they're red hot right now. Then they will lose to the Packers, lose to the Bears. In that one, they will lose to the Broncos. They will beat the Dolphins, and they will beat the Jets, making my record predictions for the Buffalo Bills 10-7. So there it is. There you have it. There's my prediction for them. Then we move on to we will move on to the Miami Dolphins record predictions. So the Miami Dolphins, this is not looking good for them. They lost a lot of key players. Their best wide receiver now is Malik Washington now. They have their quarterback is Malik Willis now. And their best player, Devon Achane, he is going to be amazing this season, but I don't really have high hopes for the Dolphins. I think they will get a win to start off the season, but then here was where the losses pile up. They will lose here. They will lose there. They will continue losing 1-4 going into the bye week. They lose 4 straight. They will lose to the Jets away. The losses just keep on coming. 1-7 now on the season. I think they sneak in a win against the Colts. They will then lose, but they will get a win against the Jets 3-8. They will lose to the Broncos. They will lose to the Bears. They will lose to the Packers. I think they can get a win here against the Chargers. They will lose to the Bills, and they will lose to the Patriots on the final day of the week, making my record prediction for the Miami Dolphins 4-13. Not a good sign at all for them. It just was not a good season for them at all last year, but they'll be even worse this year with a lot of key players walking this season for them. And ultimately they will finish in a very low record this season. Then we have the New York Jets. The New Jersey Jets, I should say. They're in East Rutherford. Remember that. They will start off week 1. They will lose to the Titans here. They will lose to the Packers. They will lose to the Lions. They will lose to the Bears. So 0-4 start. They will get a win at home against the Browns, but they will lose to the Patriots. Then they will beat the Dolphins, I believe, so making them 2-5, and I think they will beat the Raiders here, so 3-5 now, giving them some hope. But then this is where the losses start piling up. Lost there. Excuse me, I meant to say they would lose to the Bills. They would lose to the Chargers. Dolphins 3-9 heading into a late bye week. They will lose. And so now they're 3-12, and I think they will lose to the Vikings. And on the final day, the final week of the season, they will lose to the Buffalo Bills. So my record predictions for them: 3-14 this season, and that's not good, especially because the Cardinals, I had them finishing with a worse record, meaning they would get the number 1 pick. So that's it for the AFC East now. Let's get into the AFC North. I hope I'm making okay record predictions. I know like I said, I would do much better with with basketball, with the NBA, and I don't really know as much about the NFL, but I will do my best to give you guys my best predictions that I can possibly give for the channel. So let's do that. Starting with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's get into that. So let's see the Pittsburgh Steelers record. They won their division last season. They'll start off with a win there. They will then lose to the Patriots. They will beat the Bengals. Then I think they will pick up a loss to the Browns, but they will bounce back, win there, and I think they will beat the Bucs. They will beat the Saints. They will beat the Browns. So they're 6-2 heading into the bye week. And then on week 10, they will lose to the Bengals, and they will lose to the Eagles and the Broncos. So bad start coming out of the bye week. They will continue their losses to the Texans, to the Jaguars. They will get a win there against the Ravens. They will pick up a win against the Panthers. They will get a win against the Titans, and they will lose on the final day of the year to the Ravens, making my record prediction for the Steelers 9-8. Then let's go to the Baltimore Ravens. Let's see what they can do this season. Let's start with week 1. Week 1, I think, for the Baltimore Ravens. They will get the win here. They will get the win against the Saints. They will get the win against the Cowboys. So the 3-0 start, they are off to a really good start then. 4-0. 5-0. Oh my goodness, look at this. 6-0. Wow, what a great start this is. And they'll keep it going. 7-0. Good start. But I think they will then start seeing some losses. So a couple losses there, no big deal. They're playing the Bills and the Jaguars, two very good sides. And I think they will beat the Chargers. Then they'll win here, but then they'll take a loss to the Texans, making them 9-3 heading into the bye. Then I think they will beat the Bucks. They will lose to the to the Steelers. 10-4 is their record now. I think they will get the win against the Browns. They will then pick up a loss against the Bengals, and I think they will win on the final week, making my record predictions for the Baltimore Ravens 12-5. So I think that will be good for them. I think the defensive addition of Trey Hendrickson on their defense will be an important thing. I think Lamar Jackson, if he can stay healthy for the Ravens, will be a good sign. So ultimately, that's why I have them finishing at a top spot. To all fantasy people out there, people who play fantasy football, I recommend Lamar as a top pick. So let's move on to the Cincinnati Bengals. Where are they? There they are. So let's get into it. This will be a matter if Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase stays healthy for the Cincinnati Bengals. But let's say they will start off with a loss and another loss. So these keep piling up. 0-3 now. So they continue 0-4. So a bad start for the Cincinnati Bengals. I would hope for them to do better. I said they would make the Super Bowl last season, and that was wrong. But I think they will beat the Miami Dolphins here. They will then lose to the Ravens. But this is where they could start getting some wins. They will win, loss. But then they will get a win. So they are 6-6. Then they will lose to the Chiefs there. I think they will lose to the Panthers. So they are in a really desperate situation. They're 7-8 now. They will beat the Ravens here, and I think they will just barely sneak in. Would that be enough for a playoff spot? I don't know. But 9-8, I think it will be a very good record for the Cincinnati Bengals. Moving on to the Cleveland Browns. So we have 6 people in right now. We've been on for just about an hour now. Let's see. So Cleveland Browns do not have a proper quarterback. After what I saw in preseason with their 3 quarterbacks, Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, Deshaun Watson, I am shocked. I'm absolutely shocked. And they lost Myles Garrett. So let's make this done and over with. So let's get into it. Loss there for the Jags. Then they will continue the losses. They will get a win here. They will definitely, I can definitely see them getting a win. And then they will lose to the Jets here. So 1-4 now. Then I believe they will lose to the Ravens. And I think they will lose to the Titans as well. 1-6. Now, here we go. Continuing loss. And then another loss. So this is getting a little awkward now. 1-8. 1-9. Okay. So they only have one win. First 10 weeks, they will head into the bye week. Then week 12, I think they will lose to the Raiders as well. But then gets the Bengals. I think they will beat the Bengals. They will lose to the Falcons. They will lose to the Giants. Then they will lose to the Ravens. They will lose to the Colts. And I think they will lose to the Bengals. So there's my record predictions for the Cleveland Browns. 2-15 is where their record is going to be. So let me just quickly. I'll be right back. Okay, so we're back, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed this predictions. Sorry if I'm the not as energetic as I usually am. I have a little bit of a cold right now, but so yeah. So we have two more divisions to go on the predictions today. So let's get into that. Let's go into the AFC South. That is the big one, I think. But yeah, let's share the screen. Okay, there we go. So the Browns and Cardinals exchanging 2-15 records. I usually don't like to predict the team to go 2-15 because it doesn't really happen very often, I believe. But that's where it is. That's where the record is at. So have to say 2-15. So they will on AFC South. It will be the Jacksonville Jaguars. So let's start. They won the division last year, 13-4. So let's get started. They will get the win to start off this season, but they will lose here. So that sucked because they had such a great season last year, but they have two very, very, very tough games against the Broncos and the Patriots. Broncos with one of the best defenses in football, and Patriots just adding AJ Brown to this team. So that's not good. But then they will pick up a win against the Bengals. I think they'll lose to my Philadelphia Eagles in London. They will beat the Texans. So they'll head into the bye week 3-3, feeling good about themselves. They will beat the Colts at home. 4-3 is their record now. I think they will lose to the Ravens. They'll beat the Titans. So it's come out of a bye to a 2-1 record. So then they will beat the Giants. They will beat the Titans, sweeping them on the season. They will lose to the Bears. I then think they will beat the Steelers. They will lose to the Texans. I think they will beat the Cowboys. They will beat the Commanders. And on the final day of the season, they will beat the Colts, sweeping them, making my record prediction for the Jacksonville Jaguars 11-6. So let's move on to the Houston Texans. 11-6 was the Jaguars, remember? So Texans will have to compete with that, which I think they will beat the Bills on opening day. That will be a big win for them. They will back that up with another win against the Bengals, then another win against the Colts. They'll have another. I think they'll have a top 5 defense this season in the NFL. They will beat the Cowboys, beat the Titans. So a 5-0 start. That's a really good sign for them. They will lose to the Jaguars here. Then they will come back 6-1, going into the week 8 bye week for the Texans. Then I think they will lose to the Chargers here away before bouncing back with a win. And then they will sweep the Colts in the season. I think they will beat the Ravens. They will beat the Steelers. They will beat the Commanders. So that's a really good sign for them. They will beat the Jags. They will lose to the Eagles. I think they will also lose to the Packers. But on the final of the week, they will beat the Titans, making my predictions for the Houston Texans 13-4. That will be a good record for them, trying to compete for the AFC number 1 seed. Then let's go to the Indianapolis Colts. Let's see. Anthony Richardson dropping to their quarterback 3. That is really bad. Will Daniel Jones have another good season? We'll find out. But let's see. We'll start off with a loss for them. So they start off 0-3. There. That's not a good sign. We're going to lose here. 0-4. They will lose here. So an 0-5 record to start off the season. Not good for the Indianapolis Colts. They'll finally pick up a win. Then against the Vikings away, they will lose. They will lose there. So this is not good, but they will get a win before losing. So 2-8 record for the Indianapolis Colts is where I'm at with them. But they will lose here. They will win going into the bye week. Then they'll lose. And then another loss. And then again, losses just keep on piling up. 3-12. I have the Colts, and then they will lose to the Jags. So my record predictions for the Colts is 4-13. I actually don't think the Colts do anything this season. I just don't think the Colts are ready. If you guys think I'm wrong, then let me know. But I think they pick up where they left off last season with a horrible ending to last season. I think they just picked it up on that, and their confidence is going to be very low this season, and they will be 4-13 this season. Then time for the Tennessee Titans. This is the one I'm excited about. Cam Ward entering his sophomore year in the NFL. Let's get started. They will win their opening day. That's a big one for them. To win their first game of the season, but then the losses start to pile up. Get losses here. They will lose to the Texans as well. They will lose to the Colts here. 1-5 will be their record prediction. They will beat the Browns here. 2-6. They'll get a bye week on week 9, and I think they will lose to the Jaguars. So 2-7. And then they will lose to the Cowboys, lose to the Jaguars. So 2-9. It sucks. I would like to see them win, but I think they can do it here. Commanders 3-10 though, but then they'll get a win here. It's where they start picking up a win. So 5-10, but then a 5-11, and then on the final day of the season, I think they'll lose. But at least it's somewhat better. 5-12. It gives them, a little bit of confidence that they don't have a 3 win, that they're not all the way in the mud, and that they have some hope going into next season, and they can make a playoff push next season with another nice pick in the first round. So let's go with the last division, and that is the good old AFC West with the Denver Broncos, who I think can be a serious Super Bowl contender. And so their bye week this week, week 10, I think that's actually a perfect time to have their bye week. So let's get started. Week 1, get a win here. Week 2, get another win. Then week 3, they will suffer a loss to the Los Angeles Rams. Then they will get the win against the 49ers, making them 3-1, then 4-1, I think is where they go. Then they'll lose to the Seahawks, but they can sweep the Chiefs, and they will beat the Panthers. So 7-2 heading into the bye. That's a great sign. They'll beat the Raiders there. They'll beat Steelers. So some comfortable wins here. They come off 6 wins in a row, and then they'll win their 7th in a row. They will sweep the Raiders on the season. Then against the Broncos, against the Bills rather, they will beat the Bills, but I think they will lose to the Patriots here in Week 17. And on the final day of the week, they will beat the Chargers, making my record prediction for the Broncos 14-3. Let me know what you guys think of that. 14-3. Their defense is going to be amazing. I think there will be a top 5 defense for sure this season. And it'll be nice to see how Bo Nix does this season on his third year in the NFL. So next up, we move on to the Kansas City Chiefs. So I believe Patrick Mahomes will be returning earlier than we expect. So that's a good sign. We will see how he is, though, this season, as they will start with a loss. Then they'll get some wins there. They'll get 3 wins heading into a very early bye week, 3-1. And that bye week, I think, is good for the Chiefs, because if it gives Mahomes an opportunity, to be like, okay, we got rid of these first 4 games and we get a break early on, so that's a good sign. But then they start off with a tough schedule. I believe they will lose away to the Chargers there, lose Seahawks, lose to the Broncos. So 3-4, but then they'll bounce back, victory there against the Jets. Then they will get the win against the Falcons. And a win, but a loss to the Buffalo Bills. A loss there. Then they will get a win, loss to the Patriots. So 7-7. This is the really important final 3 games. They will lose to the 49ers. I think they can beat the Chargers away. And on the final week, they will beat the Raiders, making their record 9-8 on the season. Let me know if you think I messed up. But I think that's where they will probably be, especially if Mahomes still trying to recover from his injury last year. Then we go on to the Los Angeles Chargers. So the Chargers, this will be a fun season. It'll be a fun to see where they can be at. Because last season, let's see what their record was last season. 11-6. I think it'll probably be more of the same. To be honest, it'll be more of the same stuff for this Los Angeles Chargers. They finished second in the division last year, and they don't catch for the Broncos, but I think they can finish a similar side, like around 10 wins. I think that would be a nice accomplishment for them. So they start off with 2 wins. That's a good start to the season. But then here's where the losses keep on piling up. Loss. 3 losses in a row. I know it sounds harsh, but I mean, they have the Bills, Seahawks, and Broncos. What do you expect? But they will bounce back with a win against the rivals, the Chiefs. But then they'll lose away to the Rams. Yes, that is an away game, because the Rams fans will obviously be much more than Chargers fans. Chargers should be back in San Diego. Then they will lose to the – or did I say the Texans would lose to them? I think they will actually beat the Texans here. 4-4 is their record now. But then they will lose to the Ravens, and then they will beat the Jets coming back. So bye week, gotten a bye week at the right time, I think. They especially after a 3-game losing streak, but they bounce back. They're kind of still in the middle. I think they can. It's a pretty easy fix. They will lose to the Patriots, but then 2 wins come here. It's like 2 wins. And then they will lose to the 49ers, but then they will play the Dolphins, which I think they will lose, unfortunately. And then the Chiefs will beat them there. And I think the Broncos will take care of business there. So, yeah, I didn't realize that. That's how I had my predictions. But 7-10 is the record. So not really that similar. Actually, I think I kind of want to change something, but I think we'll just leave it as is. I think it happens to a team that is a good team, but they just have a very hard schedule, and I don't think they beat the teams like the Broncos or the the Bills, like the 49ers, they have a very tough schedule. So, yeah, I don't think they do that. And yeah, 7-10 is their record. Then for my final prediction, this is the one I've been waiting for. The Las Vegas Raiders. We will see how Mendoza does on his first season with the Las Vegas Raiders. Let's start off week 1. He'll lose. Usually rookie quarterbacks do lose their first game of their career. Nothing to be ashamed of. Then away they will lose to the Chargers. They will lose to the Saints. They will lose to the Chiefs. So 0-4 start. Make that 0-5, 0-6, 0-7. So 0-7, yeah, that's really not good. And they will lose to the Jets. I'm excited to see Mendoza play, but I know he won't be doing because the Raiders are not that good of a team. Simple as that. 0-9, 0-10. So all these are losses for me, and I think they will lose here before beating the Browns. So 1-11 will be their record now. They will lose here to the Chargers, lose to the Broncos. I think they will lose to the Titans, and they will beat the Cardinals, and they on the final day they will lose to the Chiefs. So my record prediction for the Raiders is 2-15. So there is my record predictions. Let me know what you guys think of these predictions. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I think they're going to be correct. Let me know what you guys think. I think I may have messed up at the end there with the Chargers going 7-10. But yeah, these things happen when you have a tough schedule. And the Chargers, I think, do have a pretty tough schedule. But a lot of things to be excited about. A lot of things to be excited about this season. With Rams getting Myles Garrett, I think will be crazy for them. They will be amazing. The Eagles, my Philadelphia Eagles, I'm looking forward to seeing them play, obviously. Hopefully they stay healthy, and hopefully they're back to Super Bowl champions this season. And yeah. So let me know what you guys think of these predictions. Do you agree? Do you disagree? And until next time, I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.